When Roseanne burst onto American television screens in 1988, it wasn't just another comedy show. It was a bold and unfiltered look at working-class life. Gritty, funny, and strikingly honest. At its center was John Goodman, the relatable, blue-collar dad who felt like someone you already knew. For nearly 10 years, he stood alongside Roseanne Barr, both on screen and off, riding waves of laughter, chaos, and change. But behind the success and the laughter, something darker was forming: tension, betrayal, and a decision so shocking it would tear everything apart. Now, John Goodman reveals what truly caused the downfall and why he believes things will never return to the way they once were. Long before anyone called him Dan Connor, John Goodman was a quiet boy from Afton, Missouri, a child molded by heartbreak and the need to belong. Born on June 20th, 1952, his life changed at just 2 years old when tragedy struck. His father, Leslie Goodman, died suddenly from a heart attack, leaving his wife and 3 children to fend for themselves. His mother, Virginia, worked non-stop waiting tables by day, selling goods by night, doing everything she could to keep the lights on. But emotional pain lingers long after the bills are paid. Years later, John confessed that his father's death left a hole that nothing could fill. "I grew up scared of everything," he once admitted. Scared of being alone, scared of not being good enough. School wasn't much kinder. His weight made him a target for bullies, and he struggled to find his place. So instead of friends, he found comfort in comic books. DC and Marvel superheroes became his teachers. He admired Green Lantern's bravery, the Atom's brains, and Captain America's loyalty. Those characters taught him a simple truth. Real strength isn't about winning every fight. It's about standing back up when life knocks you down. Joining the Boy Scouts gave him discipline and purpose. Through it, he learned leadership, teamwork, and endurance traits that would carry him through the toughest years ahead. By high school, John's size worked to his advantage. He became a star football player, a powerful lineman with both talent and determination. His performance earned him a scholarship to Southwest Missouri State University. Now, Missouri State, a dream opportunity for a kid who had spent his life overlooked. But life had other plans. In 1970, during his very first year, Goodman tore his ACL, an injury that abruptly ended his football ambitions. Lost and uncertain, he stumbled into the university's drama department, where a friend encouraged him to audition for a small role. It was just a few lines, but when he stepped under those stage lights, something clicked. The laughter, the transformation, the energy he'd found his calling. "I was hooked," he later said. "I knew that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life." At Missouri State, he studied theater alongside future stars like Kathleen Turner and Tess Harper. Surrounded by passionate performers, Goodman found not only a career but a place to belong. After graduating in 1975, he took a huge risk. With $1,000 borrowed from his brother, he boarded a bus to New York City. His mother was terrified. "She thought I'd get mugged or starve," he remembered. But Goodman had made peace with fear. New York in the mid-1970s was rough but alive with creativity. He rented a rundown apartment in Hell's Kitchen, surviving on odd jobs, waiting tables, selling tickets, even working a single disastrous night as a bouncer before realizing violence wasn't for him. Auditions were endless and rejections constant. But he refused to quit. His early success didn't come from Hollywood, but from theater. Goodman poured himself into off-Broadway shows, dinner theater, and traveling productions. Every role, no matter how small, sharpened his instincts. By the early 1982s, he had become one of the most dependable stage actors in New York, unknowingly preparing for the role that would change his life forever. By 1987, John Goodman had spent more than a decade working quietly behind the scenes, small film parts, regional theater, and the occasional guest TV role. He wasn't famous yet, but he had something producers couldn't fake: authenticity. Goodman's warmth, timing, and ability to make ordinary people feel extraordinary caught Hollywood's attention. And that's exactly what ABC was searching for when casting a new sitcom centered on a tough, working-class comedian named Roseanne Barr. Roseanne was unlike anything on TV. It wasn't about luxury or perfection. It was about real people, juggling bills, love, and survival. Messy, imperfect, and deeply human. The team had already found their Roseanne, but her on-screen husband was still missing. Dozens of actors auditioned, yet none felt right until Goodman walked in. At the time, he was performing Antony and Cleopatra in Los Angeles when he got the call. The moment he met Roseanne, their chemistry was electric. She was blunt and fearless. He was grounded and quick-witted. During the test scene, Roseanne snapped, "Shut up!" Goodman instantly threw it back with a laugh, and the room exploded. Within moments, everyone knew they'd found Dan Connor. When Roseanne premiered on October 18th, 1988, it was a phenomenon. Within weeks, it topped the Nielsen charts. And by the end of its first season, it was America's second most watched show, pulling in over 36 million viewers each week. Audiences connected deeply with the Connors. The financial struggles, the family chaos, the laughter through exhaustion. Goodman's portrayal of Dan grounded the entire show. He wasn't the flawless TV dad audiences were used to. He was real patient one moment, stubborn the next, but always loving. Behind the cameras, his dynamic with Roseanne mirrored their on-screen marriage. Playful, fiery, and unpredictable. Roseanne was a powerhouse, funny, outspoken, and protective of her creative control. When she clashed with series creator Matt Williams, Goodman and his co-stars Laurie Metcalf and George Clooney stood by her, forcing Williams' exit and giving Roseanne full control. But that power came with friction. Her growing influence and her relationship with Tom Arnold created divisions on set. Through it all, Goodman remained steady and professional, often acting as the peacekeeper. Between 1989 and 1995, Goodman earned 7 straight Emmy nominations and won a Golden Globe in 1993. Joking in his speech, "I'd like to thank my personal trainer, but I don't have one." That self-deprecating humor only made fans love him more. Goodman's Dan Connor redefined TV fatherhood. He was no polished, idealized patriarch. He was a hard-working man who loved his family, even when he didn't know how to express it. Viewers saw their own fathers in him, but behind the laughter, pressure was mounting. Roseanne became one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood, and the weight of success began to suffocate the show. Goodman later compared it to riding a roller coaster with no brakes, thrilling but terrifying. The 1,990 seconds marked the height of Roseanne's fame, but also its unraveling. Roseanne's personal life bled into the production. Her marriage to Tom Arnold turned the set into a battleground. Scripts were rewritten, tempers flared, and longtime writers walked away. Goodman admired her brilliance, but struggled with her volatility. "She could be the funniest person you ever met," he recalled, "and the hardest to work with the next day." By 1997, exhaustion had set in. After 9 seasons, Roseanne ended a bittersweet farewell to a show that had changed television forever. Goodman was proud, but emotionally drained. He moved on to film, proving his range in classics like Barton Fink, The Big Lebowski, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Roles that showcased both his power and vulnerability. Yet personally, he was fighting demons. "I was drinking at work," he later admitted. It was humiliating. In 2007, he sought help, entering rehab and getting sober, a turning point he credited to his wife and daughter. In March 2018, Roseanne made its triumphant return after 21 years. Nostalgia and curiosity collided, and fans tuned in by the millions. The premiere drew 18 million viewers, the biggest comedy debut in 4 years. "It felt like putting on an old pair of shoes," Goodman said. For a moment, the magic was back. Then came May 29, 2018. Roseanne Barr tweeted a racist comparison involving Valerie Jarrett, a former advisor to President Obama. The backlash was immediate. ABC canceled the show within hours, calling her words abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values. Goodman was blindsided. He learned of the cancellation from the news. Overnight, everything was gone. Choosing silence over conflict, he simply said, "I'd rather say nothing than cause more trouble." Months later, he broke his silence, telling the Sunday Times, "I know for a fact she's not a racist." His words weren't political, they were loyal, protective, and deeply human. Still, the damage was irreversible. Roseanne was over not because of ratings, but because of a single tweet that could never be undone. In October 2018, ABC launched The Conners, a spin-off that continued the story without Roseanne. Her character was written out dead from an opioid overdose. Goodman returned as Dan, joined by Laurie Metcalf and Sarah Gilbert. Critics doubted it could survive without its central star, yet it did. The show ran successfully for 7 seasons, ending in 2025. Goodman's portrayal of a grieving widower was tender, grounded, and deeply human. Off-screen, his relationship with Barr never recovered. "We haven't talked for 7 or 8 years," he told The Hollywood Reporter. "I doubt she wants to talk to me." Barr later told Fox News Digital in 2024, "No, I'm not friends with any of them. They're all in the past." Despite her harsh words, Goodman spoke of her with warmth. "She made me laugh, and I made her laugh," he said softly. It was a special time. That bittersweet affection defined their legacy, a mix of brilliance, pain, and nostalgia. By 2025, as The Conners wrapped its final season, Goodman reflected, "It went by so fast. Feels like it started 2 weeks ago." He understood something deeper than most. Roseanne wasn't just a TV show. It was a reflection of a nation, of ordinary families and extraordinary resilience. It didn't end simply because of scandal. It ended because time changed people, fame fractured friendships, and some wounds never healed. In the end, John Goodman never truly blamed Roseanne. He only mourned what was lost: the laughter, the trust, and a bond that once felt like family. Do you think Roseanne could ever return in any form? Or has its legacy been sealed forever? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share,